What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we dive into a Dimir Rat deck that I've thrown together here, playing around the new card Karumonix, the Rat King. I tried my best to keep it as budget friendly as possible. If this is something you want to try out, if you're someone who likes rats or is a budget player and wants to try out the new Rat King, I do think this is a pretty decent place to start. The only problem in standard, I would say right off the bat, is that most of the rats are either from this set or from Kamigawa. There really is no rats from any other set that are in these colors, so that is the one downside. So we are playing a little bit of ninjutsu combined with some of the newer mechanics with the poison and things like that. But Karumonix is overall pretty interesting. I do think if you can kind of get it going, he is a 3-drop 3/3 with Toxic 1. He gives other rats we control Toxic 1 as well. If they already have Toxic, they technically have Toxic 2, so they do 2 Toxic to the opponent. And when he comes in the battlefield, we get to look at the top 5. We get to reveal any rats from among the top 5, add them to our hand, and the rest in the bottom in our library in any random order. So he is kind of like the main card that helps this deck really get going. Overall, pretty decent of a card, and the only other rares we have in the deck outside of him are going to be one copy of Tribute to Harabi and one copy of Nashi. Both really good cards, I do think, for this deck, as well as both of them have their advantages one way or the other. And then outside of that, we do have a Shipwreck Marsh in the land base, though this is, I think, one that the game does give you for free if you've completed all the beginner challenge stuff and have all the dual color starter decks unlocked. So you should have this in your collection if that. Outside of that, we play a swath of the creatures from the new set and Kamigawa to fill out our rat creatures. In our removal, we are a little bit spread out with a couple of some of the new spells with Anoint and Sheoldred's Edict. Both of them pretty solid here. I think Sheoldred's Edict's pretty solid, especially if you go against an opponent who plays Planeswalkers, as it's a 2-mana instant speed. It makes your opponent sacrifice a Planeswalker. Outside of that, it also can remove tokens and creatures, or makes your opponent sacrifice a token or creature. And then we have, the typical 2 cutdowns and 2 Infernal Grasp, as I do think with there being more artifacts in the format, it's definitely one of those things to have removal that just targets any creature regardless of what type it is. And then we have a little bit of digging a little bit deeper with Augury and Prologue Paralysis to kind of get the Toxic train going. Though typically we're not really trying to win by Toxic, but it's always good to have a thing to target with Proliferate, which is definitely pretty solid. Another thing too that's very good with the deck is that Proliferate works very well with our sagas, as you can technically tick the sagas up a chapter later than they already are. So you can maybe Proliferate at the end of your opponent's turn and make this go to chapter 3 and flip it over, so then this doesn't have menace, or doesn't have summon sickness on your turn. So definitely pretty solid there. Same thing goes with Tribute, where you can get it on chapter 3 and get all those rat tokens back before your opponent maybe even gets to attack with them or use them for any sort of thing. But overall, pretty solid deck. It's definitely kind of a fun deck. I don't know if it's going to be super competitive, but I figured I'd try and play Karumonix and kind of see how it does. So let's dive into some games and kind of see how the deck does. Opponent goes first. I think our hand's okay. We have some pressure. Outside of that, don't removal, but I feel like we could draw into it. It's just a matter, I guess, if our opponent's going to keep or mulligan. All right, looks like we're playing against probably Poison. Is going to be my guess here. So it's quite the popular deck at the moment. Or it's not Poison and we just got blue mana and it's mono blue control or something. I don't know. You can bounce it. All right, we're going to curate. We're going to surveil and draw. Interesting. So what are we doing here? What are we curating for? What do we got going on here? So draw a card for each island you control and discard 2 cards, or syncopate. So maybe very heavy mono blue. Interesting. Swing for 2, if you allow it. I'm not going to play into counter magic, so I'm going to let them, make their choice here. Huh. All right, so our opponent's literally playing like mono blue. Mono blue stuff is what I'm going to call it. We'll swing in again for 4. Aid in Hope is fine. You have more spells? Consider, sure. Consider, sure. This allows us to possibly play Rat King. Or get in for some life points here if we want to ambush her. I can get 1 more point of damage for ambusher, and then I can also replay the 2/2 and start draining them again, and gain a little bit more life. I feel like that's probably a solid play. That's a 4-point turn. And I guess our opponent's like very stuck on, do I want to keep this card or do I want to get rid of this card? I guess it's a tough surveil. We'll ninjutsu this. Deal 3, gain 3, and then Reconraid it back. Sure. Alright. We're gonna Spell Pierce my 1-drop. Are we gonna see Haughty Jin? Is Haughty Jin making an appearance? No. Alright. Combat. Thirst. Sure. So mono blue tempo. Nothing. $28. We'll play Blight Belly Rat. Why did it tap that way? Because if it would have tapped... It tapped to leave the draw open instead of allowing me to cast the Karumonix there. All right, our opponent's, I think, 3rd or 4th consider already. Easy snap, keep on top. Riveting gameplay here. Sure. I will cast it for full. Why would you... Yes, it is a 3/2. I paid 4 mana for it. Sure. How much protection do you have? Impulse, looking for a counter spell, I guess? Maybe found one? We get a new rat. Swing. Get a poison. Yes, it is literally Rat Tribal, my guy. You realize I can cheat the other one out, right? Spacebar. Spacebar. Sure. Like the top card. The damage. We're at 34. What do you got for me? I'll replay it. Also, why did it tap all my mana? Alright, our opponent's gonna just give up, I guess, there. Interesting. Interesting. I don't know if the Haughty Jin deck is as good as it used to be, but... Hey, if you're liking the deck, I have it linked down in the description below if you want to check it out. And if you're also liking the video, remember to hit that like button. Definitely helps out the channel. With that being said, let's get back into the next game. All right, we're on the play. Hand's kind of full of lands, but I don't mind it. We have two plays in the first couple turns and a removal spell, so I do think we go ahead and actually play our untapped mana and kind of go from there. So we will keep, and we'll play Wreck and Raid. Looks like our opponent's possibly playing mono red. Not 100% sure, but always good to have our stuff. I am gonna play our Blightbelly Rat, even though this is probably going into a burn spell, but it's, you know, getting a body on the battlefield. Also proliferating possibility here to get this to chapter 3 with our Saga. All right, so our opponent's playing a 4 Mirrodin deck. Interesting. I do think in this aspect, it's probably best to play our tap lane since we don't really have another play. So I do think if we play the Dismal Backwater, so that kind of fixes all our colors. And I do think after that, we probably just get rid of the token. And then that means they don't have a creature to attack with, and we attack in. And then next turn, depending on what they do, we could always maybe Silver for Master something into the battlefield, which is definitely interesting. And they are playing white. All right. Also another 4 Mirrodin thing. Sweet. Play our other tap land here, just because it doesn't... I don't think it's too bothered here. And we're just going to attack in with just the 2/2. And I do think we ninjutsu this in, and then we can replay it. And then we can play the Wreck and Raid. Our opponent does have a 2/2 though, so, and double strike. So it is definitely something we gotta be on the watch for. And we can throw it in front of it if we want to. All right. Our opponent has another 2/2 with first strike and trample. Our opponent is really getting the creatures out on the battlefield at the moment. Really trying to do the equipment thing, which is definitely awesome. And Kemba. Sweet. Definitely cool. I do think we chump block. I do think that's something we want to do. And we're going to proliferate on our Saga and I guess on their poison. Downside is at the moment we've only drawn our rats and only the one removal spell, so definitely not in the best position at the moment. And it looks like our opponent's just playing all of the cards that give like haste here, and it looks like we also have another card that gets equipments on things. So definitely an interesting equipment deck. First I've seen so far since the new set's dropped. So our opponent can't get too aggressive is the only thing. All right, welcome a vampire. Interesting. The only downside is that all their creatures are not pumped. So outside of that, everything else is pumped. So I guess they get to draw a card off of that. We're going to draw a card off of our Dross Pits because I do think we need to find some sort of card to deal with what's going on in the battlefield. Our opponent's playing their land out. I guess maybe our opponent's going to equip. So it does cost 1 red. It doesn't get discounted any further off of that. So we're going to sacrifice this. We'll draw a card, see what's up. All right, so we got the Rat King, which is definitely not bad. See if our opponent attacks out. And they sit back on defense. We'll take it. That's going to be 10 damage altogether. We're at 25, so I'm not really worried there. That's not too bad, though. It's not great because we don't have a ton of black mana, so... Still gonna sit back. I think next turn we have a possibility, depending on how aggressive they get attacking wise, to swing in. Affinity for equipment. Interesting. So they're gonna pass back. and they don't have a red open. So downside of that, so they don't get to move their stuff over, and they only have white mana in hand. Well, this has trample. I'm gonna block the double striker, because then I can get rid of their 1/1 equipment out of this. Land's not great. I mean, I could swing. I mean, that doesn't do anything. I could just play a new one and see what rats I could pull off the top. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll just play this just to see what rats we can pull. It doesn't matter. And we just get a vermin, which is not great. But we're probably dead here just because they have a bigger battlefield. And we didn't get to draw any sort of other removal outside the one Anoint. So now looking back on this, maybe the Anoint was probably the play, because Kemba is only a 2-drop. And our opponent gives itself protection from white, not realizing that our red, and it kind of gets rid of their double strike. Seven. No attack with the 2/2 in the air, which is weird. So 7. No matter how it doesn't have double strike, so. But it will attack first. Yeah, I'm just gonna scoop because I do think we're too far behind. Even though we could block out, we're just behind and we can't really recover. Bill, let me see. So our opponent's playing tokens. Tokens. Should be fun. All right, that's fine. I do think that's all right in my opinion. Let's see if they want to trade. They don't. I think we just play a Silver Fur after that. It's a good blocker. Their Skelp can't actually block either, which is good for us. They don't have real white mana. I'll take that trade. We'll play Rat King. We'll give our Rats Toxic. Already going well. Looks like we're trading here. Gonna give -1/-1 to this. Reset the board. Now we have a 3/3 and we have some pressure. Another Skrelv. And a 1/3. Easy cut down in the air, I think. And then I think we just attack in, and then we just play one of our creatures. I'm not gonna ninjutsu. And I think we play Nashi, because then Nashi gets online next turn, and we start playing their deck against them. Hive. That's fine. That doesn't help. That actually slowly kills them, which is good for us. Swing? No, they can't block, so good for us. We didn't play land, so I might as well play land and name Rats. And we'll play Okiba. And I guess we'll play the 3/2 for full mana. And just kind of get the board as wide as possible. I mean, our opponent's at 8, so I mean, they have to put something in our way, or we're just going to swing through and get leaf. Okay. That's fine. They're at 7. Do I have lethal on board? We attack this way. That's fine. We'll just do that. We'll gain 3, 25. And then I'll just play out my hand. As much as I could probably sit back, I'm just going to play another rat and just kind of keep the pressure going. Sure, we'll do this Death Touch. And we'll play tap land. And we'll say go. They just have a bunch of unblockable lands at the moment. Unblockable creatures. Sure. I mean, that's going to kill them. They're at, they don't have a single poison on me. I'll block that. I mean, I'll counter that. And they have no blocker now. I mean, they can get through for all of the hexproof. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, I have 2 attackers that get through, and now they don't even have protection for their 4/4, and I just do an Infernal Grasp, which like kills that, and then they have no blockers whatsoever, and we swing in for 9 against their 3. So easy win. Good win, good win. If you're liking the content on the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It definitely helps out a lot. Also, if you want to go the extra mile, you can simply click the join button. You can join the channel and become a member for as little as $1. That will also help support the channel. And we're back. So the deck went how I thought it was going to do. This deck is definitely more of a fun deck overall, just because I do think there's just more powerful things currently in Standard. There isn't enough rats really to make good synergies overall outside of the ninjutsu stuff. The other rats really just don't feel like they have a place, as Toxic and ninjutsu really don't go hand in hand, but it's definitely a fun deck if you like Rat Tribal for the most part. I'll leave a link down in the description below if you want to check out the deck list for yourself, maybe make some tweaks. Maybe if you have some of the more mythics and rares, you can add them to the deck and see if that makes any difference. But overall, I would put this in the more fun range. If you like the video, hit that like button. Definitely helps out a lot. If you're new here, you want to post new videos like this one here on the channel, hit that subscribe button. With that being said, I'll see you in the next video.